I'm America first, man. I'm Trad Cat. We're gonna make a Catholic theocracy. Nice job, kid, but you're a fid. No, man. If you listen to Nick Fuentes, I'm on your side, Ese. We're going to deport all the illegals and Jews or I'll go. Okay, when are you leaving? We're all white here, man. No more brother war. You're the same! There's been a discussion on the kind of online right-wing communities, gaming communities, on if gatekeeping is dead. The reality is if we are already having this discussion, that means that gatekeeping is basically already over. And you can kind of see this where post-COVID, now all esoteric knowledge, all niche interests, now all those niche interests you have are open to the normies. For many communities, gaming, anime, manga, all of these communities have been replaced by a new horde of normies. In this video, I'm going to explore the failure of gatekeeping, the gentrification of all media platforms, including video games, anime and manga, right-wing online spaces, and by the end of the video, I'll provide some solutions that hopefully we can try to remedy this issue. Like, comment, subscribe, and without further ado, let's get in the video. So I think the perfect place to start this discussion is the Fallout TV show and its second season, in which the second season was praised by normies. I kid you not, it has a higher rating than The Sopranos on Rotten Tomatoes, and the detractors of this show have been sidelined. We can see this with Chris Avallone, the only developer actually pushing back against this. We can see in the true Fallout subreddit, in which fans that go against the Fallout TV show are being silenced and getting their posts deleted because of wrongthink. And you have to ask yourself, how do we get to this point in the Fallout community where there's really nobody besides maybe Synthetic Man and a few other handful of or smaller YouTubers shitting on us? The reality is Fallout died a long time ago. And this is just kind of the final nail in the coffin, where Fallout 4 came out, and that game was subjectively shitty. The dialogue was terrible. None of the factions' motives made any sense. The gameplay was boring as all hell. And what happened was that normies played this game, and they enjoyed it because they played Skyrim, and they saw Bethesda was making a new game. And so what happened from that, Fallout 4 enjoyers and gamers began to outnumber the OG fans. And once that happens, the majority can bully the smaller critics into silence or just ignore them. And the reality was with Fallout and the TV show is that Todd Howard won. And he was once he gained control of the Fallout franchise, he was able to paint it in his own image and basically mold the entire Fallout franchise lore and all that into Todd Howard's own image. It's Todd's world now, and you're living in it, bitch. This can extend beyond just Fallout with Todd Howard's incessant retconning with him basically killing the Elder Scrolls and the shitty master for Oblivion. I mean, all these games under that Bethesda directly makes now are all normified. They appeal to the lowest common denominator and they retcon lore. They just don't give a shit. Even when the Fallout show so blatantly contradicts the old lore, makes no fucking sense. Nobody gives a shit because the normie will consume whatever the fuck the normie wants to. They don't think about the things they watch. Because Fallout 4 was such a success of a game, the fans of Fallout 4 went to go watch the TV show and boost it. And so all the OG fans yammering on discussing the death of Fallout, I'm sorry, but Todd Gods won and no one gives a fuck anymore. And the reality is no one in the Fallout space gives a fuck anymore. I mean, the series is dead and the normies won, Todd won, and it's the sad truth about Bethesda is all these old games that are great. The normies haven't played them. They don't care. Morrowind, Fallout 1 or 2, no one fucking gives a shit at Bethesda anymore about those games. They're long gone and dead games, and that's the way they see it. The normies don't care about those games either. They really don't. I had a thought as I was editing this video, and it was that what if the normies actually enjoy the woke slop they put in games, and that's the reason they keep adding it? Not only because of elite pressure, but the normies actually like it. They actually like the gay shit in Baldur's Gate 3 and Kingdom Come Deliverance and all the new gay shit they're putting in games. You say, bro, but there's woke games that don't sell well. Well, there's also woke games that do sell incredibly well. That's just a thought I had as I was editing this video. Next part of gaming I want to mention is the TF2 community. The TF2 community has also been ruined by this whole gentrification. What began this kind of downfall of the TF2 community, I would say, is 2018, 2019, when all the OG YouTubers saw the writing on the wall, and most of them quit. Besides maybe like Uncle Dane. What happened after the OG YouTubers quit is that there were new YouTubers that came in, and many of them were
ideologically compromised. What happened is all the normal players they took beatings after the bot crisis, the terrible updates, the fucking vampires that run this game that running shitty ass update after shitty ass update, and basically all the sane people besides a handful of like normies quit playing TF2 because no sane person would continue to play that game. I mean, most people I've known countless people that used to be my friend. They quit TF2 because of just how terrible it's been run. And now what has happened to TF2 is that all of this has culminated into TF2 becoming basically an insane asylum. It's chuds, some random normies, and a large training community who's took control post COVID, where the trainers control what updates get released, and what has happened is that the kind of OG, most of the OGs fall into, I would say, the chud space, and what has happened is that it's caused civil war within the community, and it's turned the community into an insane asylum where it's just a stupid civil war shit throwing, and nothing's going to change in TFB because of that, because the community has been filled with all these ideologically compromised individuals. And as much as I don't want it to be the case, that's mostly the reason why I didn't go about leading some sort of movement, is that there's just too much division, and no one actually wants the best for TF2. It's just become this cesspool of hate and vitriol, and maybe I contributed at some point, but the only life that's left in TF2 anymore is community servers. Uncle Dane said recently that there's nothing wrong with TF2, and that he just plays and he stopped playing competitive years ago. I mean, come on. I mean, this is the guy who pushed the competitive update. He really doesn't give a shit about TF2. There's really no hope for this game besides community servers, unfortunately. And that mostly happened because of 2018 and 2019, if the community did something back then, things could have changed, but not anymore. Now TF2 is completely and utterly compromised, and it's sad. It's a sad state it's in, but that's just the pure reality of it. And I just want to have a little bonus section here about some little smaller shit in the video game community, discussing Lisa and roguelikes. So I'll just say this real quick. Say my piece real quick. Lisa is a community that it was just a small little Polish village, and then the Mongol horde of there was certain YouTubers that promoted the game and let a Mongol horde of just disgusting people, and it just destroyed the original community. And I think it's better now. I've talked to a friend about it that interacts in the community, but I remember back when that happened, the subreddit was disgusting. A lot of these communities were disgusting. People making gross fan art. It just made me go away. And that's just a good example of how YouTubers promote and kill a community. And the same thing can be said for roguelikes, where a lot now with roguelikes, what has like kind of killed the genre, at least for me, is that YouTubers have promoted Balatro and shit like Megabonk, and these games get millions and millions of views because the YouTuber and downloads. And what that does is that incentivizes these developers to make copycats, where shit like Megabonk was just Risk of Rain and Vampire Survivors combined into one, and now people are incentivized to make Balatro clones. Vampire Survivors, that game blew up and YouTubers blown up. So what did the small roguelike devs do? Rather than make new games, no, they were making fucking Vampire Survivor ripoffs. There's thousands of them. I'm sure some of you even have like 3 of them in your Steam library right now. State of the roguelike games that are coming out this year and came out last year. I might make a video on this at some point, but it is very bad. When we get into the anime and manga community, I want to say that I started reading manga around 2016 when JoJo got really popular, and I watched the show, and then I wanted to continue to read the manga, and that's what got me into the whole manga community. And back then the community was pretty damn good. Like, it was fun to interact with the community, but I would say post-COVID, once TikTok and the kind of anime edit community started to get big, it created a large horde and influx of very low IQ people and people with little to no taste. I would call these people slaves of the algorithm. There was this guy I was friends with at one point. On his algorithm, remember the Tedo meme? Like 2 months after that Tedo thing, he started posting memes about her, and that he cared about her. And I was like, this guy is lesser than me. Like, he's a slave to the algorithm, because I knew he was basically a normie. And I'm assuming he got this meme to him. And I'm like, this guy's lesser than me. Like, he's just obsessed with this character because of the algorithm. He's just a slave to the numbers. Anyway, what I'm getting at with this is that these people that these edits have created are basically slaves to these algorithms, where they're slaves to these opinions. And so these people will make edits. They'll just they'll push all this bullshit. Like they'll push Vinland Saga is some masterful Kino, deep Kino, and it's very surface level. And the later part of the manga is terrible. If you guys have actually read the manga, it is fucking dog shit. Chainsaw Man, they push Chainsaw Man, which is I think it's very overrated. I would say it's mid. It's not bad. It's just mid. I think the countless video essays about Denji as if he's some sort of it's like some super complex character when he's very simple what he is, Just the pushing of Chainsaw Man, and especially JJK, which, I mean, let's be real, JJK is bad, and even normies realize this. The author gave up world building halfway through writing the story. And the worst example of this is solo leveling, which it's pure slave. If you like solo leveling, you're not even a real human being in my eyes. But that's here or there, okay? That's here or there. What this leads to is it leads to the actual people with actual taste. Their opinions get buried. Where I saw this Instagram reel. It was like new anime coming out this month, premiering, and it was Fearin' and all these other dog shit animes. Which, I mean, Fearin's just mid. I mean, the art's good, but the storytelling's just boring to me. I find it very boring. And none of it, I noticed all these posts. I'm like, no one's talking about Golden Kamuy. The final season's coming out. That's just fucking awesome. And no one's talking about Golden Kamuy. That's because no one has taste. No one has taste anymore. All these old manga fans, pre-COVID fans are reading manga, reading shit like Usagoi, which by the way, that community's also been ruined by edits. No more intellectual discussions happening in that community. What I mean is all these people with taste back in the day have been completely overrun by these stupid edit. It's like an IQ cap. These stupid edit makers that are from the Philippines. You can also see us with shit with like Berserk, where Berserk became super popular because of the gym edits, bro. It's basically like the performative male of the anime community is like the gym Berserk talk, where people talk about how deep the shit is. It's so trite. And you see it with the shift where, Berserkle Jerk was originally made, I believe, I remember that Reddit community, that was originally made for people that were disdained by making fun of people of the Berserk community. And now I looked at it recently, like 5 or 6 years since it's come out. It's literally just like gay porn. It's just like, what? Like what has happened in this community? I'm really thinking about this TikTok shit. Like even Diddy Blood anime and manga is now getting popular. Like Monogatari, which I personally do not like Monogatari. Like it's got good writing and stuff, but the Diddy stuff I just can't handle. I could take a certain amount of Diddy stuff in my anime and manga. Like I know Urasawa has some Diddy stuff, but I cannot handle the Diddy stuff in Monogatari. I'm just gonna say that. So. But even Diddy stuff does not keep the normies away. Like normies are like irony posting Monogatari and then reading it and watching the anime, and it's like, or not, it's a novel, or I think light novel. So they're watching the anime. But regardless, we're seeing this big shift in the community now where whatever the algorithm pushes is what these people believe in, where that pushes away, it creates this kind of hive mind where it pushes the intellectuals, the actual people that used to read manga back in the day, underground. And this is honestly a good thing. But the issue is now, how do we hide the good anime and manga? And I guess the reason is don't talk about it on social media. Don't talk about this shit. Only talk about it in your niche groups, because like shit like Golden Kamuy, no one's talking about. Normies aren't talking about this shit because they just have no taste, and they're slaves to the algorithm. They're just NPCs. Before I get into my final point, I'll briefly mention the kind of like TTRPG community, because I do know it's like shit nobody cares about. Baldur's Gate and Stranger Things has all the like grognards and OSR fans have basically been forced out of the community. And my local game store literally has like a sign that says LGBT plus Q welcomed, and I went in there and it was exactly what you imagine it'd be. So just wanted to mention that. I know I could go into detail on this, but shit nobody cares about. So let's just get into the final point. So I want to discuss the online right-wing community now. I can't say I'm not somewhat happy that certain things have been illuminated to the normie, but the issue is that it inflicts a very low IQ people. Just like the manga anime community, it's getting kind of bad. I would say the start of this was October 7th, and then kind of the ascendancy of Nick Fuentes and his fans have able to catapult niche right-wing ideas into the mainstream. And this is no doubt like a good thing that's happening. But what unfortunately has happened is this has also promoted very low IQ right wingers into relevancy. Now, I'm only trying to avoid specific names here, but if you know, you know, okay? I'll just shotgun some off right now. There's the Bosnian monarchist that made a video defending Richard Nixon, like that fucking matters at all. There was a libertarian who made a video recently denying the Khazarian question. There's the right winger that was a previous transgender. And in one of his most recent posts, he said Latinx are white. That trad guy that got slapped across the face and took it, and now he's dating a black woman. And Chudyard, of course, where, I actually do think Chudyard's somewhat intelligent when it comes to history, but that guy is just crazy and just completely, utterly insane. All these people, these kind of underlings being promoted.
What this does is it promotes a culture of ideological LARPing.
I think the online communists have this idea of, I've heard this idea before where they talk about the ideology store. And this is kind of what's happening now with the new online, right? The new people that are getting red pills. They're very low IQ. So they're like the average new Gen Z right-winger is a Honduras second-generation immigrant in the United States. And they follow Nick Fuentes. And my question is, okay, you talk about America first and you talk about mass deportations, but when are you leaving? But anyway, no, but I'll get into Nick Fuentes here. What my problem with Nick Fuentes is the ideology he is pushing is basically diet Francoism, like Francisco Franco. The sad part is that just like Francisco Franco, I believe this ideology will probably have the same thing happen to it, where Francisco Franco, immediately after he died, the monarch of the time reestablished liberal democracy, and you can see now with Spain, they're naturalizing millions of Africans in their country, so that country's basically dead, in order to destroy the chuz and destroy the right. So that's where your epic Franco monarchy LARP went, your monarchist LARP went. But anyway, I just think that the idea of Catholicism in America is kind of just ridiculous. And now Fuentes and I guess his community are pushing that Latinx are white people because majority of his followers are Latinx. And what this will lead to is, let's assume they take power, they're going to annex Mexico because they're Catholic, the epic trad Catholic. And America is just going to become this Catholic theocracy. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, if we want to save America, I'm telling you, creating some Catholic theocracy. By the way, the Pope's woke. The Pope's woke, by the way. That's something they don't want to accept, but the Pope is woke. Is not the way forward. And just like Franco, well, let's imagine the dictator dies and they do make some Catholic king. They will immediately restore back liberal democracy. So that whole idea of the Catholic monarch LARP is just, and another issue I wanted to get into was that the actual good, intelligent right wing people, the actual good, intelligent right winger YouTubers basically get minimal traction. I'll name some off right now. I really like Endeavor, Morgoth, Ubersoy, Europus, Agora. All these people are really good. There's others. I'm sure there's others, but I really like all these people. I think they're very intelligent. The issue I have with the new online right wing LARP is these people don't read. These people, it's just like a aesthetic LARP. The reality is, would these people be even fit to ready themselves to become a counter elite, let alone lead a movement? You know what I'm saying? Like they're not gonna be the vanguard party that's a counter elite clique. It's just utterly ridiculous. And the reality is that unless these kind of low IQ ideas don't get destroyed and the Latinx LARPers become the majority, I'm just telling you right now that this kind of new ascendant right-wing movement is not going to do anything to fix America, I can tell you that. So what are the solutions to this malaise? First thing for the anime and manga community is, first of all, don't share the Kino out in the open. You have to share it in your kind of communities. And number two is just, if you want to gatekeep an anime and a manga, this does somewhat work. Even video games, this somewhat works. But the problem is, the more people know about the psyop, the less effective it is. And honestly, what I think we should do is just equate whatever you're interested in and say it's a Diddy Blood. Like say it's a Diddy, even if it has no connection to being a Diddy Blood, just say you're a Diddy Blood if you like it. Make shit up about the story, make shit up with the game. Just say it's a Diddy Blood. That will somewhat gatekeep normies. If you say, this story has some Diddy Blood edits, I don't think you should, I think it's great, I don't think you should interact with it, it'll somewhat repulse the normie. The Diddy Blood psyop is a low-key underrated strategy, and if you guys in these kind of intellectual spaces and communities want to try to gatekeep shit, and normies are, let's say you see two normies on the internet talk about this in a comment section, just throw in some shit and say it's a Diddy Blood, that's a Diddy Blood, what are you talking about, that's a Diddy Blood, why are you interacting with that? And then get your friends to like updo that. That's like creates a psyop. But no, all right. And the second option I have is that, let's be honest, Reddit's terrible. The cord is dead. I really don't like Telegram. What are the options? Where are the communities that people need to, coagulate in, like go to? And I think it has to be Steam groups and Steam group chats. These are actually pretty damn good. And this is a very now that people are like trying to find a solution to the cord, like where do we go now the cord's dead? I actually think that Steam group chats and Steam groups are very good. And I'll be making my own Steam group pretty soon. So if you want to get in that, I'll be posting the link at some point later in my community post. So watch out for that. Base people. Now the core's dead. We need to make our own Steam group chats and just don't talk about these base games or anything publicly. You need to start gatekeeping in private forums, private group chats. And there needs to be concerted movement and effort by a community to gatekeep the shit they like. I can't say I haven't somewhat contributed to ungatekeeping shit, but it is what it is. And that's just the future now, is that rather than thinking that gatekeeping's dead, I think we need to think of it is where do we go from here? And where we go from here is that like-minded, enlightened people need to put themselves in their own community and isolate themselves and, create their own counter community and let the normies play with their dolls. Let the goyim, let the goyim play their little games while we enlightened people will actually be doing the real shit. We'll be actually making the real videos. We'll be actually making the real content. Let the goyim, let the outside world, let the goyim play their things while the enlightened elites master their craft. So that's all I got to say. See ya, niggas.